How can we use innovation and entrepreneurship to change the future of European politics? We will discuss all of this in a very special episode with our guest, Lukas Sieper. Stay tuned.
My party, the Party of Progress, we are democratic pragmatists. I did the most interventions out of all MEPs. I spoke now, I think, 620 or 630 times in the plenary since the beginning of the mandate. You need to wear a suit in plenary, but then you can wear a streetwear outfit in the committee. And then people will realize, oh, that's something new, but something good. If you ever listen to a German in your life, then listen to me right now. We are in the 1930s. We see forces from inside the union, from outside the union that want to transform our society into something that resembles Orban's Hungary at best and Putin's Russia at worst. We are in an existential fight for the survival of democracy. I want people to know it will get worse before it will get better.
Our guest, Lukas Sieper, is a German politician and one of the youngest members of the European Parliament.
We are more, we are stronger, and we are not going anywhere. Long live Europe!
He co-founded the Party of Progress with a few friends over a beer one night. His main battle is the survival of European democracy, mixing a pragmatic and entrepreneurial approach, focusing on what works, not on ideology. Lukas, at 29 years old, you are already a member of the European Parliament. Do you feel your voice matters?
Yes, of course. Maybe less than of more experienced older colleagues sometimes, because they spend more time building a network, they are more established and they have more experience about the institution. But in the end, I'm a member of the parliament like every other member, and with that mandate, with that position comes a lot of weight in discourse, a lot of possibilities, budget, staff. So you can make your voice matter if you want.
That's nice. And for young people that want to be involved in politics in general, how did you manage to achieve this goal?
I can't really tell you, to be honest. It just happened. I mean, 6 years ago, together with my two best friends in pretty much in a flat like this, we founded a party while we were drinking beer, and then we just ran for every election. And the European election was the first one where we are on the ballot in all of Germany, which is a very big member state. We had 20 active party members. We had 600 Instagram followers and a campaign budget of 2,500 euros. And we garnered 250,000 votes. So I think we just had good ideas and we pulled through. It makes no sense that I'm here. That's the point. It's against all laws of the political business and how elections go and who wins seats. We had nothing more than dedication and good ideas, and we just pulled through. So what I can tell is before that happened, for many years we worked for this, not for this particular goal, but to build the party. We worked every day. And I know I now sound like one of those motivational coaches on YouTube who want to get you into WhatsApp group, but they are true in one thing. If you have a goal and you work for this goal every day, eventually you will achieve your goal in one way or another. So you have to be persistent, and then everything is possible.
Yeah, and I think it is also like a very significant example, because with a few budget you got so many votes, but also beyond motivation and those things, like what was the special thing of your party in relation to the others?
So I think two things. The first thing, my party, the Party of Progress, we are democratic pragmatists. So inside the democratic spectrum, yeah, fuck those guys, but inside we don't follow a certain ideology. We have conservative ideas, social democrat ideas, liberal ideas, green ideas. And I think this is something that resonates pretty much with a lot of people in society. People in the past, we had a strong connection between who you were in society, how much income you had, where you would live, what your parents were, to what would vote. The workers always voted for the left parties, or maybe the Social Democrats, and the wealthy people always voted for the conservatives, and the entrepreneurs always voted for the liberals, etc., etc. But now the world is more interconnected, and the boundaries between what we consider as social classes are moving, and the common interests are stronger now in society. So a lot of people don't see themselves just merely as conservative or social democrat or liberal or green. They have different ideas on different topics, and that's what we do, and this is what our party stands for. And of course, it's all interconnected. You have to pick the best from each ideology, but you also need all of them at once. Like if you want to build a house, you need first people who build the house. So the workers, they need good wages, they need social security, pension scheme. This is more social democrat. Then you need expensive machinery to build the house, and for that not to be stolen, you need a good police force, which is maybe something that the conservatives would advocate more. Then the company that builds the house cannot be drowned in taxes and bureaucracy, which is more something that the liberals want. And if you're smart, in the end, you put solar panels on the roof, so the energy in the house is self-sufficient, and this is more what the Greens want. So only if you connect everything together, you can build that house. And our mission as PDF, as part of Progress, is to build that house constantly. And I think that's the very first reason. So we were able to attract a vast number of different people. And if you look at who voted for us in Germany on a map, we have that data. If you look at where in society did these people came from, you would see that through all regions, through all classes, through all backgrounds, people more or less equally voted for us. And the second thing, what puts us apart from other parties, is we are a parliamentary basic democratic party, something that at least in Germany has never been done before. So we, our members and also non-party members come together in internal parliaments called party parliaments, where they vote about the political positions of the party. And for non-members, that's anyone who is registered in Germany, no matter the citizenship, or who is a European citizen. So you don't even need to sign up for the party to work on the political positions of the party. And also we don't have a membership fee. So as well as from the political level as the participation in general, our party is very, very easy to access. And that's something that also people want. People nowadays are, especially our generation, has a problem with commitment. Yeah, so we thought we need to be like streaming service. We need to be a party that works on demand. If you feel like that on that particular day, you go to the platform, you work on the party. If you don't feel it, then you go away. And you can come back 6 months later, no questions asked, and you still have the same voting rights, the same abilities, the same possibilities. And so this flexibility of a vast number of people keeps the party running without the necessity to having people involved very strictly like in traditional parties. So I would say that's the two parts. We are a very pragmatic party where you can find where your political ideals can resonate no matter where you're coming from, and we are very easily accessible on demand in our structure.
Yeah.
It is very fascinating how you try to build this party in a grassroots manner, also independent from class or social circles. I'm wondering, since you're focusing so strongly on pragmatism and picking and choosing what you like from the different ideologies, is this long term, you think, enough to keep a voter base, since many people vote on beliefs in the end?
So I can just tell you that in the last 6 years, our voter base grew and grew and grew and grew. And if it still works in 20, 30 years, I cannot tell you. I believe so. Otherwise, I would not be sitting here. And for now, it went pretty well. So I think it will go further, because I think the boundaries between social circles will erode even more. And even more people will want different things from different political ideologies. You can see it in the if you look at the voting pattern where people move from one party to another. you will see moving patterns that actually make no sense when you look at the parties that are affected. So, for example, nowadays, a lot of people that for decades voted for the left suddenly vote for far-right parties. And a lot of people who voted green now vote conservative again, and so on and so on. So I think this will go even further. I think this will accelerate even more, and that will give us enough voters to keep the party sustainable.
How can you imagine these first years with the party? You mentioned that you worked every day on it. Can we think of it a bit like a small startup with everybody super motivated, trying just to figure things out?
Pretty much, I would say, yes. I mean, we were a small group of people. We had regular meetings, mostly online, and it was all very, and I think that's why startup is a good analogy. It was all very project-based. We had two types of projects, basically. That the first one was elections, and we really ran on every election wherever possible. This whole thing, a lot of people say, oh, you should only run in an election when you have the chance to succeed. We said, no, we need to run, because otherwise we are definitely not interesting. And the second thing was we did a lot of charity events. So we did charity concerts, charity flunkyball, I don't know if this term is known in English, charity flunkyball tournaments. We collected money for Ukraine through a flunkyball tournament as a party. Or we gave soup to the homeless in winter. So we went from project to project, from election to election, and suddenly it got out of hand. So yes, I think a startup is a very good term for that.
Yeah, and I think also this demonstrate, that people actually care about changing things, and also young people. It's just that we need a bit to be more creative and more innovative in engaging people in politics.
I mean, I could not agree more. I was before I came before I founded the PDF, I was a member of the CDU, the Conservative Party in Germany, and I joined when I was 17. And I mean, now also when I look at the current chancellor and the current CDU, I would not fit there politically, but back in the day it was the era of Angela Merkel, which I admire for her political stance. Not for everything she did, but for the overall philosophy. And I remember the reason why I never got hooked on this party were the way that this party works. You had this very traditional meetings where you would sit down and discuss, and if you were not super well connected, you had no chance. And they were basically telling you want to do something? Yeah, go hang up posters for the next 10 years and then come back and you maybe have a chance to get your own project. While in the PDF, we always said, here is what are the requirements. Basically, don't spread extremism and don't be an asshole. And then you can have the party logo and you can wave the party flag and you can do whatever you want. So it's not only to keep the business comparisons. What we did and what we still do is we're not only a startup in that sense, we're also a franchise, where we give our name and our logo and our platform to people who can prove to us that they have ideas that resonate with the party line, and then they can do these projects on their own without much oversight or control.
And how does it now fit with you being in the European Parliament, where everything is well structured with consolidated ideas and consolidated processes? How does a party like yours fit into an established context like that?
Oh, I would say we are highly what's the term, disruptive. We are very much disruptive as a party. People still have problems sometimes to figure out how this whole thing with being pragmatic in the political stance works. But I mean, for me, the first thing that I realized when I came to the European Parliament is that I need to be known. So we are 1.5 years in the mandate, and the first goal really was to be known inside the institution, for people to trust me. So we slowly came to a position where we were tabling amendments, where we were signing letters, where we were working on legislation, but it was mostly internal and external communication. We put a lot of emphasis on social media, because people need to know the party name, people need to know my name, and we put a lot of emphasis on getting known in the parliament by, for example, doing speeches. So what I did is I actually, something that no MEP ever does, I read the rules of procedure of the European Parliament and I found all the ways to get speaking time. And now, 1.5 years later, I did the most interventions out of all MEPs. I spoke now, I think, 620 or 630 times in the plenary since the beginning of the mandate. And people are, I would say, if I try to perceive the perception that others have, I think they are still confused on how the hell did this guy get into this position, and now everyone knows him, and he actually can achieve something. So you need to be disruptive. You need to balance being conform with the social norms and standards of the house, while also crossing boundaries. So, for example, you need to wear a suit in plenary, but then you can wear a streetwear outfit in the committee, and then people will realize, oh, that's something new, but something good. And you need to be very pro-European, always, for the majority of the house to work with you.
Yeah, and this innovative approach in politics, can we also move it to the European economy in the end? Because we are really struggling in keeping our entrepreneurs and so on. So on this, what is your main take of your party?
I think we can, if we really focus on the stuff that now the parliament wants to focus on, which is digitalization and getting rid of bureaucracy, because founding a company in Europe is a nightmare still. I mean, I did it myself. I created, a year ago, I created a company with two friends that organizes techno raves. And the number of forms that you have to fill out is horrible. So I think our environment in Europe is not good for young people who want to go into business, especially because the competition is so great with the US. So, I mean, the thing is, in the end, politics is a vibe. People think politics is about legislation or provisions and laws and all of that. And this is, of course, the technical side of it, and it's important. But politics as a business is about vibes. It's about giving the people a feeling. That's why our current German chancellor is such a catastrophe, because it gives the people a bad feeling. That's why Ursula von der Leyen is a mediocre commission president at best, because half of the people don't trust her and the other half is like meh. So you need to give a good feeling. And if I would be a young person in Europe with a good business idea, I would look at all this bureaucracy. I would look at the fact that I still have to send over half of the applications in paper to the authorities, and I would be like, I better go to the US. So I think that's the issue there. We need to create a vibe where young people feel that they are building the future of Europe when they create a company here.
And I also think it's a difficult balance for the European Union, because I see the EU also as a regulating force, in the sense that it cares more about workers' rights and also like supply chain transparency and so on, while you have forces like the US that they also focus less on those things, but at the risk, for example, of well-being as well of citizens. So how do we strike a balance concretely there?
That's a terrific question. So my favorite tool actually for that is the democratization of companies. So I'm talking about unions. I'm talking about worker councils within companies, because those are the institutions that are normally meant to balance the interests of the workers to the capital interest of the company. And I know the German figures. I know that in France and Italy it's also not looking so good. But just to stay with Germany, 11% of the workers are members of a union in Germany. And the vast majority of especially small and medium enterprises don't have worker councils. And this, for me, is actually the solution to balance that out, because then the thing is then the state is not needed. We are I don't believe that the state should be the one regulating every last detail of life. We are the people need to solve their issues themselves and to solve their interests, balance their interests out themselves. And the state and the laws are more for the worst case scenarios. But because inside the companies there is a lack of balancing out interests between the company and the workers, because there is no trade unions, because there is no worker councils. The EU suddenly is forced to take care of all of that things that it doesn't know so much about, and that it's highly underfunded and understaffed for.
The real question is, of course, why do workers not engage more and organize more to be part of those unions? Because if they did, I guess then, according to subsidiarity, the EU could say, look, we don't care about this. You guys are perfectly able to take care of yourselves.
I think they are afraid. They are afraid to lose their job. I mean, once again, it's a little bit about a vibe, but this time a societal vibe. If one worker, and I have a situation in my private circuits right now who resonates this pretty good, but I don't want to get the people there into trouble, so I will not give any details. So if one worker thinks about, do I want to join a union? Do I want to get active, or do I want to create a worker council in my company? Then this one worker thinks, I might get fired for that. If millions of workers collectively come to that conclusion, then they won't get fired. Because if there would be a movement within society that this is now a necessity and that we need that, I think that could be a solution. And that's something that politicians can facilitate. And that also, I think, is a good thing for each and every part of the political spectrum to facilitate. Because I know that now many people listening to what I just said maybe think, he's a social democrat now, or he's a leftist. No, it's also in the interest of the conservatives and the liberals for that to happen.
When you were running for the European Parliament, did you, in your campaign, mainly focus on Germany-specific topics, or were you able to bring a lot of European relevant topics into your arguments and into your discussions?
Only European topics. I mean, this distinction is hardly possible in 100%, I would say. No, but we did our whole program. We had 96 pages of election program. All of that was connected to European Union's competences, or the shifting of competences to the Union. For example, one thing that we had in our program, and I think it failed now, was banning PFAS. We got this close.
Banning?
PFAS. PFAS.
I also don't know it.
This plastic that stays in your body forever.
Okay, the forever plastic.
Yeah, I think it was voted in plenary last week. I should know about that. So surprise, MEPs don't know everything that they vote. It's long voting sessions. No, but so this is a core European topic. It's competence of European Union. It regulates which chemicals are allowed within the single market. But then we also had provisions in our program that we want to shift the responsibility for climate protection from the member states to the Union, because we say the climate doesn't care about borders, so at least we should have a union-wide approach. Or there are topics that are mixed. The whole idea of a European army. That's something where the EU needs to take actions, but you definitely need the member states to transition there. So what we didn't do, and I think it's a very bad style of politics, is to advocate in an election campaign, to advocate for topics that are in no way the responsibility of the body that is elected.
Which happens quite a lot.
Which happens all the time, especially in Germany, I can tell you.
Which is somehow promising that it works, even though you change approach and you focus on European topics, and it was successful.
Yeah, I mean, the people nowadays think that only populism and extremism will bring you to power. And you see even democratic forces shifting to populist rhetoric more and more. I don't believe that. I think honest, well-educated politics that works with the positive emotions of humankind can still be successful. You just have to be brave enough to try it.
Yeah, and I think also that communicating the added value of Europe, also of the European army through social media, is also something very creative, no? Like, because if we think about the European army, it will save like billions of euros at a yearly level. It will boost innovation. It will have many spin-offs, just people don't know it. So do you see social media as this entrepreneurial also tool to communicate to people in a different way?
Oh yes, of course. It's my main tool of communication, I would say, and it's also it's basic logic. The majority of people gets their information from social media, so you have to be active on social media, and if you are well connected to journalists, go and ask them how many views their articles have, and you will find out that the number of views is lower than the vast majority of social media platform content creators have. So I think social media is the key to everything, and to once again close the circle, populist and extremist forces are also only that strong right now because they understood this 15 years ago, while the democratic forces are still discussing if it's worth to play on all platforms at the same time.
Yeah, and a politician now has to be a good content creator at the end, no? Like to be engaging, also because a short video, like you can send a message that is powerful enough in 2 minutes without having to write, for example, an article of 20 pages.
Exactly. You have to be a creator. You have to be authentic. Many politicians also do the mistake that they just throw their social media at some Gen Z intern and tell them to do something. But you have to shift resources. The majority of members of the European Parliament, from what I found out in the last 1.5 years, have half up to one member of their team working on their social media and communication, and we have way more than that if you count the workforce together that in the end goes into social media. So
how many people do you have?
It's not one person per se everything, but if you combine the workforce, we have 3 to 4 people working only on communication and social media.
Oh, wow.
Which also of course includes creating the stuff that goes well on social media. It has to be like you have to shift a little bit the line of thinking. Traditionally, people think, okay, I need to create something and then I communicate about that. But I think you need to create something that is good for communications. If you get me, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I also think, like, in terms of political battles now in Europe, you mentioned a lot of things. Like, what is the most important battle now for you?
We are in an existential fight for the survival of democracy. That's the thing. Like, we see forces from inside the union, from outside the union, that want to transform our society into something that resembles Orban's Hungary at best and Putin's Russia at worst. And this has the face of nationalism, of fascism, but also sometimes of socialism or communism, and something in between also, if you look at BSW or SMER. But there are so many people who want to go away from a liberal democracy, where you can be who you are, where you can say what you want, where you can choose your life freely, because they think that for political or moral or religious reasons there are things that people should do and should not do. So this whole idea of democracy as a collective of people who choose their own path, that's what we are fighting for right now, and that's what we need to defend. And that's my most important battle, and that's what I'm working on the most. Because we might as well go down, and if you ever listen to a German in your life, then listen to me right now. We are in the 1930s.
We were 2 weeks ago in Budapest, in Hungary, to do 2 episodes with an election analyst and then with a former member of parliament to discuss the situation there. There was this overall air of relief that we dodged a bullet, so to say. At the same time, the awareness that there are still many battles going on many fronts, including a hostile United States, now the elections in Bulgaria, which were maybe not ideal, also France with a very strong populist movement. Do you feel that it is, adequate to breathe an air of relief now, or not really?
We won a battle, but we didn't win the war. It's not done. No? It's good for the EU. It's a very strong victory for the EU because Orban was blocking so much. But it will, I want people to know it will get worse before it will get better. France, I believe, will fall next year, and Germany, at least partly, might as well in the coming years fall to AfD. Austria will fall. It's not like we are done now. I also still think we will win in the end, because the idea of freedom is stronger and always will be stronger, and especially young people are more up to defending democracy. They are more progressive. They want to live in a more free world. There's also the big part who believes in populist and extremist parties. Don't get me wrong there, but if you look at who votes what, the further society will progress. I don't want to say the further some people die, but you get the message. I think the easier game the pro-democratic forces will have in the coming decades, but the next 10 years will be very difficult. And if we lose our push for a moment, we might as well lose completely. So I think it's extremely important that those who believe in democracy and freedom mobilize, organize, and get active right now. And it's really not that hard, because if I out of a drinking idea with my buddies were able to become a member of the European Parliament within just 5 years, I think everyone else can do it too.
Yeah, and I think it's also a battle that will never end at the end. No, it's like for democracy, you will always need to fight. You will never reach a point, where you won.
Yes, most definitely. Democracy needs to be fought for constantly, and the people will always be afraid or angry, and therefore listen to charlatans. But right now, the danger is bigger than I would say 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Right now, for the first time, the people who want to tear down the system actually have a chance.
Yeah, and I also think that if social media are a marketplace in the end, populism, it's easier to sell. It's simpler, it's more direct and easier solutions, So how do you see that you could make democracy as sexy on social media as a populist idea?
I don't know if you can, to be honest. The algorithm works better on negative emotions, and that's in the end what populism works on. I think what we should do and what we can do is we can force the tech companies to lay open their algorithm to the state, for the state to regulate it, and if they are not willing to, then we have to take it away. It's a little bit funny for me, because especially because I'm a jurist, and I actually studied what happens if the state takes over assets. People always think it's the solution. People say, the state should take over the big energy companies and then energy prices will be down. No, that's not how it works. It's super difficult. It's super expensive for the state. It makes no sense in 99.9% of the cases for the state to take over private assets. But when it comes to the tech companies, I would very much advocate for the state taking it over if they don't comply with the necessity to protect democracy on their platforms. Because right now, no matter if it's Meta or X, or I mean TikTok is owned by the CCP, so it's even worse. None of them are in line for protecting democracy. All of them benefit, on the contrary, from destroying democracy, and they know that, and some of them even want that. That the CCP wants that. TikTok wants to destroy our democracy. Mark Zuckerberg, most likely as well. I don't know. He became even more crazy in the last decade.
I think he flies a bit around.
Yeah, and Elon Musk took so much ketamine that I don't know what he wants anymore.
Or we create alternative European social media companies in the future.
Yeah, it sounds nice. It's a great idea, but then you would need to get millions and millions of people to change platform, and that's rarely ever happened. I mean, people. It's a little bit like the idea of let's just create European cola company. People will still buy Coca-Cola in their billions
in the next decades.
Yes. Well, I would say Lukas has been an amazing ride. So
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
My
Thanks a
pleasure.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.